guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today is Vlogmas day 4 already. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're kind of cheating on the whole Vlogmas thing and we're just gonna do a little bit of a sit down video today. The reason being I only have like this little stretch of time, like an hour today to actually do anything because I am meeting up with some family from out of town. We're going to lunch and then I work the rest of the day. So a vlog today just would not be very feasible, nor would be very entertaining. So I have a tag for you guys. I saw that Books and Lala a couple of weeks ago now did the childhood book tag. So that's what I'm gonna be doing for you guys today. I'll still try and vlog a little bit today, but that will be part of Vlogmas day 5. Just to try and make that vlog a little longer, a little more interesting, kind of make that sort of, so today is Tuesday, so Tuesday and Wednesday kind of combined into one vlog to make it more exciting because it's very hard when you're working 40 hours a week to make quality daily vlog content, I have noticed. So today's video is going to be this tag and let's just get on with the video. The first question is there a book that you didn't like the first time but ended up enjoying during a second read? So if we're just talking about books that I read as a child, I'm gonna be honest, just as a person, if I like something, if I like something or if I don't like something, it's very hard to sway me from my original opinion. I'm very stubborn, but I can think off the top of my head one book that as a child, the first time I tried to read it, I didn't like it, I put it down, I didn't think I'd ever read it, and then it became one of the most influential series in my childhood, and that's actually gonna be one of the books of the series behind me, and that is going to be Redwall by Brian Jacques. I actually got this for Christmas in 2001. So I was in first grade when I got this book, and I was gifted to it by a relative who's actually a teacher, and these are very popular books still, but these were very popular books in the 2000s. And she knew that I loved reading and she gave it to me, and this is a bigger book. I was reading like chapter books and more advanced things than most kids my age when I was like that young in first grade. I don't think I had gotten anything like this yet before. So I tried reading it because a book is a book. I loved to read as a kid. And obviously it was a gift, free book. That's awesome. I had never heard of it before. Started with a map, that was fine. And I remember reading this first page and just not liking it at all, and I just did not understand. I didn't even get through the first chapter is 4 pages long, and I think I read 2 of those pages and just decided, you know, this isn't for me. I'm not gonna read it. I don't like it. It's not good. So I put it down, but I did still keep it because it was a gift, and that's just kind of what you did. It wasn't like I was going to tell this relative that I didn't like the book that she gave me. So it just stayed on my shelf until I think 3rd grade. So in 3rd grade, I figured out that the Redwall series were all AR books. I don't know if AR is still a program that exists, but definitely in the 2000s when I was going through school, there were AR reading tests. So you'd read a book and take like a comprehensive test on it. I think there were normally like 10 questions to 20 questions, depending on how long the book was, testing your reading skills. I don't know. It was a big deal. Like everyone knew their AR score, and there were prizes at my school. Like if you read 25 books and took 25 AR tests and passed them, you got like a prize, and then 50 books, 100 books, so on and so forth. So me being the overachiever reader that I was, I wanted to take all of the AR tests that I possibly could, show up for those, be able to read books, and then be able to say, Mom, Dad, it's for school. I'm taking this for a test. But I found out this was part of it, so I read it just to take the AR test, and I loved it. I will say, I picked up the second one because I was like, okay, this was pretty good. I'll read the second one because it's also an AR book, and as a kid, I also loved reading things that were higher than my level. So I think these were all rated as like a 5th to 6th grade level. And of course, I was in like 3rd grade at the time, so I thought I was really cool reading books that were designed for older kids. So I picked up the second book, read it for the test, and then got hooked. And this was one of my favorite series. So that is definitely a book that I had the total wrong first impression, but I'm glad that I gave a second chance to. Second question is, do you still have any books from your childhood? If so, what are they? And if not, do you wish you'd kept any of them? I do have books from my childhood. Right up here on this shelf is the whole Redwall series. There are some I have bought as like an adult because they did come out once a year until like I think 2011 or 2012. So I was older when the older ones came out, but I do have a lot of them. Again, that original Redwall book, and then the rest of the series. I do technically still have my Harry Potter books. Those are at my parents' house though, while my younger siblings are actually making their way through the series, but I do still have those. Other than like a Winnie the Pooh book that I've had since I was an actual infant, that was technically like my first book that was in my nursery. I don't really have a lot of my personal books from my childhood because most of the books that I had, I passed down. I'm the oldest of 5, so all my siblings have them, and I don't know if they've kept them or not. Maybe I should see, but yeah, I probably do have lots more books than I think I do from my childhood. They're just all at my parents' house. Number 3, were there popular books or book series you never read or got into as a kid? I'm trying to think. So this is a little bit skewed because I was like the only really big reader of my friends. There weren't really other people. I take that back. The Click series in like 7th grade, a bunch of my friends read those, and I tried to read them and they were okay, but I never really like got into them. Other than that, like thinking back to like childhood books, I think I read every single big event, like Series of Unfortunate Events. I read Harry Potter. I didn't read Twilight either, but those are like kind of like teenager books. I can't think of any books as a child that were really popular and that I didn't read. I was a very voracious reader as a kid, and I definitely, I think, tried at least everything once. So number 4, what did you mostly read? Fiction, nonfiction, comics, or manga? Has that changed as you've gotten older? So I actually read a lot of like historical fiction and contemporary fiction. I read the Dear America books a lot. I really enjoyed those. And then I think I read a lot of fantasy as a child as well. I still read a lot of fantasy. It's one of my favorite genres, so that hasn't changed. However, I don't really read historical fiction at all anymore. I definitely used to check out at least one Dear America or like the America Diaries books as a kid. I don't think there's anything similar that I would read now. I definitely like my history more as like nonfiction now, and I definitely read more nonfiction now than I did as a kid. I don't think I read any nonfiction, and I actually read more comics and manga now than I did when I was a kid. I think a large part of that is that they're a lot more accessible to me now. My library didn't really have a ton of comics or manga. I kind of grew up in a pre-internet time. Not really pre-internet, but like very early baby internet. So it's not like we have Hoopla and online library borrowing services, and then like just also webcomics that are online. That really wasn't as big of a thing when I was a kid. Like, I mean, I'm sure there were websites you could go to in like 2001, 2002 with comics on them, but my 6 and 7-year-old self definitely wasn't. So yeah, I read a lot of historical fiction and fantasy, and I definitely read fantasy, not historical fiction anymore. And I liked reading a lot of like animal fiction too, like where like animals were the main protagonists. Again, like Redwall is one of those series. But like I think there was like a Homeward Bound novelization that I really enjoyed. Books like that with animals in them. I don't read as much anymore. I definitely prefer people protagonists as an adult. And number 5, what were some of the popular books when you were a child in your country? I do live in the US, but Harry Potter was extremely big. The last book came out in 2007, so I was in 7th grade. So, you know, in between that time, they were big events. Pretty much everyone was reading Harry Potter. Again, like with the movies coming out too, I feel like there were always like people starting to read the series. They were definitely an event. And that was one that I did actually, my best friend growing up. We read the Harry Potter books together, and we would go to like every single midnight book releases with her dad. He would take us, and that was a big deal. Series of Unfortunate Events is another one that I think that I can remember clearly at least a lot of other people reading during elementary school, including some of my friends, even the ones who weren't very big readers. So I think that those were like the big 2 that I can think of at the moment, were Series of Unfortunate Events and Harry Potter were definitely Hallmark series. Do you have any reading habits you've carried into your teenage adult life? E.g. mouthing the words, reading one or multiple books at a time, dog earing a book, reading without music, etc. That is a good question. I think, so one thing that I definitely have carried with me as a child that actually was something that my parents like used to get on me about, and something that my boyfriend I'm sure finds a little annoying as well. When I'm reading, I get lost in a book. And you know, anything can be going on in the background. Again, I am the oldest of 5, so I lived in a noisy household. I don't need headphones or like ambient sound or anything. It doesn't matter what's going on in the background. If I'm reading a book and if I'm invested, I'm in that world. And you know, if you call my name or try and talk to me, I honestly cannot hear you. Like, you have to really get my attention to pull me out of the book. So that's definitely something that's carried with me. Definitely have my nose in the book a lot of the time and I get lost in it. I don't dog ear the pages. That is another thing that I didn't do as a kid. I don't do now. I obviously am not watching myself read too much, so I don't know. I don't think I mouth any of the words or anything like that. But yeah, those are the two I can think of. So how would you decide what to read? For example, did you choose a book based on the cover, the synopsis, or both? So in school, in our classrooms, how I would choose books is there were AR bins in each classroom, with like the classroom books sorted by AR difficulty level to read. And I would just start at like the one that like interested me, because there were obviously like lower level books that I was just beyond. But I would start at the bin that had books that were kind of around my grade level and work my way up and read all of those. So that's one way I chose. When I went to the library, I would definitely choose off of covers, kind of pick out ones that like spoke to me. I just like walk along, find a spine I liked, pull it out, read the synopsis, see if I liked it. And that's definitely changed from now. I think I have my authors that I like to stick with, I have my genres I like to stick with, and like especially with the internet, with BookTube and things like Goodreads, I can see new releases and kind of curate the books I find out about and the books that I consume more in like a regimented way, as opposed to like random willy-nilly just kind of reading what is offered. And number 8, where would you normally get books from? So I would normally get books from the library, and then like Christmas and my birthday. Those were the really only times that I got books for myself. I didn't really purchase any as a kid. That just wasn't something that like I had expendable money to do. So I got them as gifts, or I went to my library. I was such a library rat. That was like the first place that I was allowed to go by myself as a kid, so that was really cool. Me and one of my other best friends would actually, we lived really close together, and we would ride bikes to the library pretty much every day of the summer. So that was really fun. And that's really where I got most of my books, was from the library. Now I do still get a lot of books from my library, whether it's in person or on an app. And then I also buy a lot more because I'm an adult and I have a disposable income, and that's what I choose to spend it on. So that is gonna be the end of this tag. That was pretty fun. If I remember, I'll try and leave all the questions in the description box down below, so you guys can do this tag if you'd like to as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Leave a comment down below your favorite bookish childhood memory. I absolutely love reading those. Going through this tag made me think of so many things that I hadn't thought about in such a long time, so that was really fun. And subscribe if you want more content from me. I am making videos every single day until Christmas, and I will see you guys tomorrow in another video. Bye!